Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for tuning in and thank you for your support. Anyway, we're getting ready for week 5. As you can see, I'm trying to put it all together for you guys. I'm giving you this edge for free. But before we continue on, do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button for me so I could be up close and personal for you guys throughout the season, as well as the playoffs and the Super Bowl. Much appreciated. And leave your comments also as well, okay? Anyway, week 4 was, again, unpredictable, right? We had a couple of losses that we should have won, and we had a lot of special teams play. Yet again, the storyline for the first 4 weeks has been special teams. Block field goals, block punts, last second field goals, and it just continues. So I don't see anything changing coming week 5, right? But anyway, we're going to try our best. By the way, we went 10-5-1 on the money lines last weekend. We went 8-8 on the overs and unders. And also, we did very well, surprisingly, against the spread. We went 11-5, and that's really a hard thing to do. Between the overs and unders and the spreads, those are the toughest things to do, right? And then the money lines, obviously, we could get better. 10-5-1, we did push with the Packers game. Well, we didn't push. We tied as far as money lines go with that Packers game. That was really disappointing. Didn't understand that Jordan Love thing going on at the end. I mean, it is what it is, right? All right, guys, let's get going. Let's start with week number 5. And I have a couple of things already put up on the whiteboard. So let's get going for this week. Okay, guys, let's start off with the Miami Dolphins. And they're going to be traveling to, and let me make sure I get this right for you guys. Yes, they're going to the Carolina Panthers this weekend. Okay, they're coming off a tough game against the New York Jets in which they eked out a win there towards the end. And, well, they lose Tyreek Hill in the process. He's going to be out for the year, guys. He's not coming back. Dislocated his knee. That's a terrible loss for Miami. But they do have Devon A-Chain. They do have Jalen Waddle. They do have a Darren Waller at tight end. Now they're going to take this group of guys. Pretty much they saved Mike Daniels' season, right? I mean, the word was out that they were looking to cut his head off before the game, and maybe he's not going to be the coach by the end of the season. So they kind of saved his job. They're 1-3, traveling to the Carolina Panthers, who have no type of offense what to speak of. One of 3 teams that are the worst in the league, right? I put them in the same category as the Titans and the Saints. But the over and under is at 44.5, guys. I don't know if Vegas is trying to bait us into taking the under, right? We're going to go with the over. We're going to surprise Vegas. We're going to take the Miami Dolphins as the money line, okay? Stranger things have happened. We're going to go with the over at 44.5, and we're going to take the -1.5. I think Miami should be able to beat the Carolina Panthers regardless. They should cover this game by at least a touchdown or 2, right? I mean, that's the way it should be, right? But you never know, right? When all the money rolls to Miami, what happens? The opposite. So be careful where you're throwing the money, okay? Everything looks like a short thing, right? And as we know, this is the NFL. Nothing is a short thing, right? Week in and week out. But let's money line the Dolphins over 44.5 and the -1.5. Let's move on. We got the Raiders heading to the Indianapolis Colts. Raiders' tough loss to the Chicago Bears, a game in which I thought they had in hand. Unfortunately, the terrible play of quarterbacking by Geno Smith, who continues to overthrow, underthrow, not hit his targets. This is, I think, the 3rd consecutive week, other than opening day, which he played well. This is like the 3rd consecutive weeks where he's really costing his team opportunities to get in the end zone and missing wide open receivers. I mean, you know, Ashton GNT's waking up. He had his best game of the season. But is it enough to beat the Colts? I don't think so. I think it's enough to hang in there, right? Max Crosby continues to be a problem for opposing offensive lines. I don't see any different here. I think he will show his presence. But I just think +6.5 sounds about right with the spread, right? It was -6.5 for the Colts, but I'm jumping on the +6.5. I think the Raiders will keep it close. It will be a game that I think should be in the high 20s for both teams. That's why I'm going to take the over at 48.5. And I'm a money line the Colts. I just think the play of Daniel Jones, the play of Jonathan Taylor, Tyler Warren, these guys are bringing it every weekend. They certainly could have beaten the Rams. That was a tough loss. I think Mitchell, unfortunately, was about to enter the end zone, began to celebrate. The ball left his hand out of the end zone, became a touchback. The game changed right there. And then he had a holding call on him when Jonathan Taylor looked like he had scored a game-winning touchdown. So a bad game by that poor kid, Adonai Mitchell, right? The wide receiver, very talented kid. Hopefully he gets over that and continues his bright future in the NFL. But we're going to money line the Colts in this game. I think they come out victorious in this. But take the plus 6.5. I think the Raiders will keep this game close. I don't think it's going to be that easy for the Colts to win. So I'm going to asterisk this game, okay, as a tough bet. We're going to go now to the Broncos heading to the Philadelphia Eagles. Broncos coming off an important Monday night win against the Joe Burrow-less Bengals, all right? It seems like everybody's now going to hold the Bengals to 3 points now because no Joe Burrow. All that talent they have is just going to waste right now, right? The defense did not play well for the Bengals, so they never had a chance. Broncos rolling in with a big victory, but this is a tougher opponent. They're going to be playing the world champs who seem like every week they find a way to win. Defensively, they're struggling a little bit. They're giving up some big plays, but when they need to make plays, what do world champions do? They make plays. I'm a money line the Eagles in this game. I know that A.J. Brown's a little frustrated. He's not getting the football and whatnot, but guess what? You're winning, guy. You won a Super Bowl with this football team, okay? So just remember, be a team player, which he's been doing so far, right? I mean, it's just a little text that people are taking out of context, okay? But you guys are winning, okay? So I'm a money line the Eagles in this game. They're going to be playing a tougher defense. Jalen Hurts, he may not throw for 300 yards like other quarterbacks do, but he still gets the job done with his legs, all right? He's still a threat. Okay, I love that play where they faked the tush push and then they pitched it out to Saquon Barkley against the Buccaneers. That was awesome. That was awesome. I don't think the Buccaneers were even aware of how wide open they left that part of the field. Okay, so great job by the Eagles. They find ways. I think they'll find a way this weekend to beat the Broncos. It's going to be a tough game, but I don't like the quarterback play of Bo Nix. He's having a Geno Smith type year as well. He is overthrowing, underthrowing, making bad decisions back there, but he's getting by because he has a lot of talent, right? You got J.K. and R.J. Harvey in the backfield, right? So keep depending on the running game, keep this game close, and maybe they might pull out the upset. That's why I'm going with the plus 4.5. I think the Broncos will stay close with the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to take the over, 44.5. I think the Broncos will find their way in the end zone a couple of times. I also think the Eagles will find a way in the end zone. I think this is the game that Saquon Barkley has to show up. Is the over a little bit high, 44.5? I'm looking at a 24-20 game, maybe 27-23, right? I'm looking somewhere around there. So I'm just going to take the over to, play it safe. Okay, so I'm going to asterisk this game as well, right? I'm going to put that red asterisk here. If you guys remember those red asterisks next to those games, it indicates it's a tough bet. So be careful with your betting this weekend. Okay, next game up, I believe the Cowboys are traveling to the New York Jets. Yes, they are. And I got to tell you, there's no defense with the Cowboys. So it's all going to be about the offense for the Cowboys. This is why I'm going to money line the Cowboys. I know the Jets defense plays well, but I believe it's a bit too much. Sauce Gardner is probably their best corner, and he's only going to take on George Pickens or whoever lines up in front of him, right? But the other corner, you got Kevontae Turpin, you got Jalen Tolbert, who made a fantastic catch in that game. I just feel Javonte Williams. I just feel that the Cowboys are coming into this game with fantastic quarterback play by Dak Prescott. They got a threat on the outside with George Pickens. They got a decent running game. They do have injuries on the O-line that maybe the Jets could exploit, but the Jets are coming off a tough loss. Too many penalties, by the way. This is going to be an interesting game. It really is. And I'm going to put a red asterisk next to this game. This is going to be an interesting game. Why? Because the Jets find a way to lose. They really do. Um, I don't know if it's an Aaron Glenn thing, right? Like Aaron Glenn wants to. It's kind of weird watching him sometimes coach a game. There are times I look at him and I go, "Is this the same Aaron Glenn that was coaching with the Detroit Lions, or is this a guy who's trying to make a name for himself now as a coach?" He looks different. Tries to look stoic, tries to be excited when not to be excited. His team is just undisciplined right now, and that's why they're losing games. And I like what I'm seeing from Justin Fields. I really am. I think the Jets fit him. I think when he's out there, he makes plays. He's definitely gonna make some plays against the Cowboys. I mean, do I see the Jets scoring 30 points in this game? Yeah. But here's the thing about the Jets that bothers me. You got a workhorse in Brees Hall in the backfield. You want to start winning games, Aaron? You really want to coach the Jets and become better? Make him your focal point of your offense because you only got one big time wideout in Garrett Wilson. It seems like everybody else, it's just, I mean, Mason Taylor, not a bad tight end, but he's a rookie. Outside of Garrett Wilson, they really don't have another guy. I mean, Alan Lazard doesn't impress me, but in this game, and because of the quarterback play of Justin Fields, he makes those guys make plays because he's trying to make a play. I like what I'm seeing from Justin Fields. He'll keep this game close. They'll probably get about 30 points. But I do see the Cowboys winning this game. They have a fantastic kicker. That Aubrey kid is unreal. I don't know how they stay in that game against the Packers, but they tied it. But I see the Cowboys winning this. I'm a money line them. I do see the over. You know what's crazy? I thought that Vegas was going to put this over and under at somewhere around 50, maybe more. The fact that it's at 47.5 makes me think people are going to jump on the under, right? Because they see that and they go, "We're taking the under." It's going to be a 20-13 type game. I don't know. I just think that the Cowboys can score points, and I just think the defense of the Jets is good enough to hold them to maybe 35, maybe less. But the undiscipline of the Jets is why I'm rolling with the Cowboys. So take the Cowboys money line at 47.5. I'll take as the over -2.5. I think they'll win by 3 or 4. So take the Cowboys. Okay, let's move on to the next games. Okay, guys, thank you for being patient because I do have to pause to update the whiteboard. All right, we kind of jumped around the schedule a little bit. Sometimes I like to go in order. So let's go back to the top, all right, because the first game was actually the San Francisco 49ers traveling to the Rams on a Thursday night. But I'm going to asterisk this game because I think the 49ers defense with Robert Saleh, obviously, he's going to keep this team in the game. It's a rivalry game, so the defense will be ready to play, but unfortunately, the offense will not. We don't know the status of Brock Purdy or if Mac Jones is going to start. Word is that Mac Jones might get to start, but they are struggling on offense. Okay, they seem off balance. And I told you from my previous video, the 49ers are just getting by teams. Before the season started, if you saw my previous futures bets video, I told you that the 49ers were probably a 6 to 7 win team. They lost too much on defense and lost too much on offense, right? And injuries. I just felt like they regressed rather than progressed, okay? And for some reason, they came out 3-0, right? A last-second touchdown against Seattle, a last-second field goal against the Cardinals, where the opposing coach of the Cardinals just did not manage the clock well, and it gave the 49ers an opportunity. And then this past weekend, they ran into a team that was better than them. And let's just call it for what it is. Jacksonville was the better team. I picked them for the upset, right? And there you have it. And now they're going to go up against a better team, the Rams. That defensive line, the Rams defense against that struggling 49ers offense. Rams got talent on the offensive side of the football, right? Who's going to cover Devontae and Puka? All right, you got Kyron Williams, Blake Corum. Okay, Tutu Atwell. I just think it's a no-brainer. We're going to asterisk the Rams with the money line. We're going to take the under of 46.5. I think most of the points will come from the Rams. I just think that it'll probably be a struggle in the first three quarters. I think both these teams are going to box each other out defensively. But in the end, I think the Rams will cover at -3.5. I did asterisk that because it's a rivalry game, so be careful, guys, how you place your money. Next game, we got an overseas game, right? We got the Cleveland Browns at home. The Vikings are going to play the visiting team. These European games, these games are being played overseas. I don't like it. I think it's unfair for any team traveling that far. Also, I don't find home field advantages for any teams that travel to another stadium. And I think it's unfair to the fans in the States who pay for season tickets to see one of their home games be played in another venue. So I think the NFL should stop doing this, but that's just my opinion on it. But the NFL is about money, right? It's a monopoly, right? The NFL is about money. They're hand in hand with sports betting now, so be careful, and I better be careful what I say. Don't want the men in black showing up in front of my door. But anyway, we're going to take the Vikings. We're going to money line them against the Cleveland Browns, right? Browns are just a mess. Outside of Chris Junkins, they're just a mess on offense. Defensively, they're a tough football team. I mean, if they had any offense, I think the Cleveland Browns would be undefeated. I mean, they did pull the upset against Green Bay. They almost beat the Bengals on opening day, right? If they had any type of offense, this would be a scary team, the Cleveland Browns. I think the defense will show up, but unfortunately, I'm going to take the -3.5. I think the Vikings, being the favorite, they'll win this game. I'm going to take the over of 36.5. Like I said, another game in which the favorite team's going to score most of the points. And then that -3.5 is going to be because they'll just be able to cover. Okay. That defense is tough. -3.5. I'm taking the over of 36.5. And I'm taking the Vikings as the money line. Let's move on. Wow, this is a tough game. I'm going to put this as an asterisk. And I know guys out there who are Ravens fans are going to say yet again, but what did I say last week when I took the Chiefs to upset the Ravens? Everybody thought I was crazy. They said, what are you talking about? The Ravens are better. Well, you know what? On paper, they surely are better. But the Chiefs blew you guys out. And guess what? Now they're going to run into an even better defensive football team, the Houston Texans. And just like the Cleveland Browns, their offense is just not hitting on any cylinders. It's like they're stuck on neutral or they're still in park. It's like the Ferrari is still in the garage or something, right? And they're just driving around in a pickup truck, an old pickup truck. That's what that offense looks like. You got C.J. Stroud, Nico Collins, Nick Chubb, Dalton Schultz. You got talent on the offensive side of football, but yet they're playing like the Cleveland Browns offense. Like they don't know what to do with their offense. This is why I'm a money line of Ravens, just for that reason alone. But the Ravens aren't being impressive either, right? What did I tell you? Lamar Jackson is playing hero ball. And what happens? He gets hurt. Pulls his hamstring. At least that's what they're saying. So I don't know what the status is, if they're going to go with Cooper Rush for this game. But if they go with Cooper Rush, this is why I'm going to take the +6.5 with the Texans. That defense will keep that game close. I guarantee you. But I just think the Ravens have so much talent on that offensive side, right? Tight end Mark Andrews, right? You got Zay Flowers. You know, what's been going on with Zay Flowers? And, you know, wake this guy up. I mean, this guy's got to get more involved in the offense. You got Devontae Walker, who came out of nowhere, right? And he's playing well. And you got Derrick Henry, who's struggling this year with fumbleitis. I just feel like Justice Hill will come in at times and really give them the spark. Don't know, like, again, I'm going to asterisk this game. Don't know the status of the quarterback that's going to play in this game. If it's Cooper Rush, I'm taking a +6.5. If it's Lamar Jackson, I might go -6.5, simply because the Texans have no offense. And I'm going to take the under. The over and under to this game is 43.5. We're going to roll with the under at 43.5. Again, yet another game in which I see the Ravens putting up more points on the board than their opponent. And I just don't see the Texans. I mean, unimpressive win against the Titans. I think that game was 6-zip up to 3 quarters. And then the Titans just self-imploded and allowed the Texans to beat them 26-zip. Just a terrible game to watch. Take the Ravens money line, the under at 43.5, and the plus 6.5 for the Texans, because I believe their defense is going to make some plays this weekend. And now another game I'm an asterisk, and Giant fans are going to freak out. Yes, the upset special, if you can call it that, right? Because I think both teams aren't making the playoffs this year. I'm sorry, Giants fans. I know you guys got Jackson Dart and you guys got all this hope with Cam Scatterbull and, the young kids, right? Hey, the rookies are going to carry us. You guys have a good defense. I'll give you that, right? I love what Dexter Lawrence did last week. I love what the Giants defense has been doing, right? Keeping you guys in games. Unfortunately, they had to make a change at quarterback. They weren't confident with Russell Wilson. So they go with the more enthused, younger version of Patrick Mahomes, if you want to speak, right? I'm not putting him in that category. I'm just saying by mobility, right? Like the guy, I believe, runs a little bit too much. If you want to stay in his league long enough and you want to help your team, Jackson, take my advice. Learn how to slide and stop taking on tacklers. I know it's firing up your team and everything, and I give you that because you pulled the upset against the Chargers. I still don't know how you guys did that. Chargers really blew that. They had an opportunity to go 4-0, get up 2 games on the Chiefs, and you opened the window for the Kansas City Chiefs to steal that division yet once again. But you pulled the upset, Giants. Congratulations. Jackson Dart, you are the fire they needed, the spark. Now, can you carry this over without your main guy, Malik Neighbors, who's out for the season? Okay? Saints, they're showing up every week. They're fighting. They don't care who it is. They're going to fight every weekend. That's what they've been proven. And Spencer Rattler, another mobile quarterback, has a good arm, can make plays with his feet and arm. He's going to be a little bit dangerous for the Giants out here this upcoming Sunday. I'm going to pick the Saints for the upset. I just think that despite the fact that they're running into solid teams and losing, doesn't make them a bad football team. It just makes them vulnerable to the better teams. And what I mean by that is that the schedule makers did them no service. Going up to Buffalo this weekend was heartbreaking, knowing, it's going to be a victory for Buffalo, just a matter of how many points they're going to put up. But the Saints do struggle on offense, okay? They're in the same category as the Titans, the Texans, and the Cleveland Browns. But they make plays when they need to, and they keep games close, right? And if you've been watching the Saints for the first 4 weeks, they're not getting blown out. The score was 31-19, but that score came late for Buffalo. They were still in that game. So I'm gonna take the Saints as the money line upset. I'm gonna take the over 41.5, right? I think Vegas was trying to get funny here and say, no, this game's going to be low scoring, 17-13, 17, 14, some type of game. I just think this is a game that Giants are going to get caught off guard and the Saints are going to make some plays, and then you're going to see desperation on the Giants trying to catch up. Giants could win this game too, right? It's not guaranteed. I'm just going with the upset. I just think the way the NFL has been this year, this is going to be an upset, if you can call it that. They're playing at New Orleans. I think that the Giants, they're coming off a big win. Can they feed off of that with a young rookie quarterback? Of course. They're built for that. But I just think the Saints are going to bring them back down to earth. I'm going with the Saints. Okay, let's move on. And let me pause this for a second while I update my whiteboard. All right, guys, thank you for being patient as I continue to pause the video so I could put up my whiteboard together. Okay, let's move on. We got the Cardinals, all right? And they are going to be playing the Tennessee Titans. Let me put my notes over here so I can get a better look at them, right? All right, so you got the Cardinals traveling, I believe, to Tennessee, right? It's going to be the Tennessee Titans traveling to Arizona. No brainer, right? We're going to money line the Cardinals in this game. I don't need to go and ramble on about how I feel about the Titans offense and what Cam Ward said afterwards about his entire football team and what's going on. I mean, that's crazy for a rookie to come out and say the things he said. But anyway, that's for bulletin board material to motivate his own football team. And we're going to take the under of 40.5, right? I just think that Arizona's going to play lights out on defense. Will they give up a touchdown or two? Maybe. But I think this is a game in which the Cardinals have to win. They got to rebound. 2 last-second losses to opponents that they had the game won. I mean, they had the 49ers beaten. They had the Seahawks, okay? They had tied that game. And the Cardinals offense is not a bad offense. I know they lost James Conner for the year, but Trey Benson is a fantastic running back. You do have weapons. It looks like Marvin Harrison Jr. is starting to wake up, okay? So that's a good sign for the Arizona Cardinals. I think he'll do even better this weekend. And we're going to take that -5.5. Titans offense is just lifeless. Their season is just going downhill. They'll be fighting for the number 1 pick along with the Saints and the Cleveland Browns by the end of the season. We're going to move on to the next game, and this is an interesting game. You got, I believe it's Tampa Bay traveling to Seattle. This is a tough game. I'm going to asterisk this game because I'm going, despite the injuries that the Buccaneers have right now, right? They got a couple of injuries on that offensive side. I don't know if Mike Evans is going to play in this game, but the Buccaneers offense goes without saying they're exciting where they need to be exciting. I mean, Baker Mayfield keeps you in games, right? It looks like they were getting blown out by the Eagles, and yet they come back and stayed in the game and had an opportunity there at the end, right? Bad interception by Baker towards the end of that game. I'm a money line to bet with the Buccaneers. We're going to go with the underdogs here, right? And we're going to take that +3. It's at Seattle. Seattle's a tough opponent, good defense. But I saw a little chink in that defense. If they can't get to the quarterback, everything's exposed in that secondary. And Kyler Murray, what he did to them was incredible towards the end of that game, which looked like Seattle was going to run away with, right? They were dominating that game, and then yet Arizona came right back at them. I think the Buccaneers have more weapons than Arizona. I think they're going to pull off this upset. I believe they're the underdogs. The over and unders at 44.5. I think I'm going to take the over. I think this Buccaneers love these high-scoring games. I think that's where Baker Mayfield feels comfortable. But the Buccaneers have a good defense too. And I think it's enough to where they're going to make a couple of stops towards the end to prevent the Sam Darnold-led Seahawks win the game. Outside of Jackson Njigba Smith, Torrey Horton is what? A rookie. And outside of their running game with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, who continues to impress me every week, I just don't see them having enough weapons to hang with the Buccaneers, although the defense will keep them in the game. But I just think the Buccaneers will play tough. All right, they're going to travel with their defense. Baker's going to make a few plays, and they'll pull this upset. So I'm going to asterisk that game. That's a tough bet. I mean, as a bettor, I think I stay away from this game all across. Who might win, over and under, and the spread. So I don't think I even touch this game. And this is another tough game coming up. And I'm going to asterisk this game too. And I'll tell you why. Commanders are coming off a loss, a bad loss. I think they should, I had the Commanders to win at Atlanta. Atlanta was unimpressive against Carolina. I don't know if they fixed their situation. The defense is okay for Atlanta, but they did give up big plays against Washington. But the Commanders, they lose a game in which I felt they should have won. I felt the game plan was a little off. I think they, missing Terry McLaurin didn't help. They're going to now travel to the Chargers. Chargers are missing 2 of their best linemen, Joe Alt, and I believe Slater was the kid before the season started. When you start losing offensive linemen and then you lose Najee Harris, and then you coming off a bad loss against the Giants. I mean, you should have won that game. There was no excuse for that. Even though Khalil Mack wasn't there, there was no. Bud Dupree should have been the guy getting into the backfield. That was just a bad loss all across the board. They were a much talented team, and they came away with a loss. And now they got to face a team with talent. We don't know if Jaden Daniels is coming back. Marcus Mariota is still guiding the ship and doing a good job of it as well. Although last weekend, a little disappointed with the play calling that went on. But I think they're going to pose a problem. I'm going to moneyline the Commanders. I think the injuries are starting to mount up for the Chargers. We spoke about the O-line. That's very important when you're trying to keep your young star quarterback upright. I think the Commanders are going to exploit that. I think Von Miller and those guys are going to find ways to get to Justin Herbert. The secondary for the Commanders is pretty decent, although they didn't show it last week, but they're decent enough to hold off the receivers of the Chargers. And the receivers of the Chargers are very good. Quentin Johnson is finally becoming Quentin Johnson. Lad McConkey is Lad McConkey, right? He's the Puka Nacua of the Chargers, right? So taking the over 47.5 sounds about right, but I'm a money line the Commanders. But I'm a +3 this game. I know it was at -3. I just think a 1-point victory, something like that, like something like maybe a last second field goal, like it could be 21-19, and then he makes a last second field goal to win it 22-21, something like that. But I'm taking the over. So maybe 27-26 type game. I don't know. But let's take the Commanders, right? That could be another upset right there. And then we got the Detroit Lions. And schedule's been wonderful to them, right? Yet again, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Cincinnati Burrow-less Bengals, right? No Joe Burrow. After a promising 2-0 start, the injury bug hit the Bengals, and they've only managed 6 points the past 2 weekends. Obviously, Jake Browning is not Joe Burrow, but he's got weapons. And I'm not going to squarely put the blame on Jake Browning. Okay, I think the defense of the Bengals just puts him in a situation where he's got to climb back into the game to try to win, right? He's going to throw all over the place. They do have a solid, good running game in Samaje Perine and Chase Brown, and maybe they need to start doing that. Obviously, that'll frustrate Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Kajeski. They got weapons, but they don't have the quarterback to direct that team, and I think that's what's hurting them. Lions are coming in. I was going to +8.5 this game. I really was. The spread now is at -8.5. I was really going to plus it. Why? Because I think all the money is going to run towards the Lions in Vegas, towards the over and unders, and towards the spread, right? It's a gimme. These are the games that scare me the most. You put your hard-earned money on these games, and then you find out that you get that wake-up call every weekend that tells you this is the NFL. It's a monopoly. Vegas doesn't want to lose millions of dollars on a game like this. That's a gimme. So what happens? You're on upset alert across the board. So I'm going to be the guy that's going to tell you, I just don't see Detroit losing this game. Impossible. Impossible. A miracle will have to happen for the Bengals to win this game. The Bengals have no defense. They got no quarterback. Not to undermine Jake Browning or make him look. When I mean no quarterback, they don't got the guy that runs the program the way it's supposed to be run. That's the leader, Joe Burrow. He's out. They don't have a chance. I am going to take the over 49.5. I think this is going to be one of those games where I think Detroit, with some of the nicks and bruises that they got, might be resting players throughout the game. Like they might say, you know what? We should win this game outright. Let me start bringing in Isaac Tesla. Let me bring in Brock Wright. Let me bring in backup guys to play in this game. They might get too cute doing that and might keep the Bengals in this game. And I think DJ Reed getting hurt on the defensive side of football, that's a big injury, by the way. That's a big injury. That might open the door for Jamar Chase or T. Higgins to get some plays downfield for Jake Browning. I am going to money line the Lions because it's a no-brainer. I'm going to take the over and under 49.5, which is, That's a bit tricky. I would not even put any money down on the over and unders, but I am going to take the over 49.5. I think most of the points will come from Detroit, and I think garbage time the Bengals will finally get in the end zone or something. -8.5 sounds right, but like I said, Vegas is funny, right? So be careful with this game, guys. All right, let me pause this and let me move on to the next game. Before we move on, let me show you the whiteboard. I think I forgot to show you guys the whiteboard. So here it is. This is how we're rolling. If you guys can see that, can you guys see that? All right. Obviously, the red asterisk meaning these are tough bets. All right, guys. You could pause that at any time you want. Let's move on to the next games. All right, guys, we're back. These are the final two games of this weekend. We only have 14 games going on, so we're going to do the Sunday night game as well as the Monday night game. We have right now the New England Patriots heading to the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, the Bills are going to be the overwhelming favorite, right? But it's a rivalry game. You're talking about the New England Patriots who have always played the Bills tough every season. So I am going to take the over of 49.5, right? The over and under is at 49.5. I believe both these teams will get in the end zone. We know that Buffalo will. And I'm not really overly impressive with the Buffalo defense. They're giving up a lot of points. I just feel like the Buffalo offense is carrying this football team to where they need to go. So we're going to moneyline the Bills against the Patriots. We're going to go with the over of 49.5. However, I like that plus 8.5. I know the spread's at -8.5. It might go higher, but it's a rivalry game. I told you that the Patriots always played Buffalo tough. You got Ramondre Stevenson, Travion Henderson, Antonio Gibson. That's a good running attack. You got Drake May. You got Stephon Diggs, who is coming back to his haunting grounds, right? So he might want to prove something. And you got Kayshon Boutte. You got Hunter Henry at tight end. I just feel like the Patriots are going to make this a game. And as we all know, the Buffalo Bills haven't been covering against teams that they've been overly favored to. Could this be the game that changes? I don't know. Do I see Buffalo maybe winning by 10? Yeah. But do I also see a game in which the Patriots could get a couple of turnovers and make this close? Yeah. So we're going to moneyline the Bills. We're going to over and under at 49.5. We're going to take the over. We're going to take that plus 8.5. All right. I'm not going to asterisk the game, but just remember that -8.5 I feel is too high. I think all the money's going to roll to Buffalo for the money line. I think the overs are going to get a lot of action. That spread, I don't know if I touch that. I think I'm going to go with the plus 8.5. It's a rivalry game, right? And then the final game of the weekend, we're only getting 14. Two teams are off on a bye. I believe one of them's Pittsburgh. I'm trying to think of the other team. I can't get to it. I'm having a brain fart. But anyway, the final game is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, it looks like Kansas City got back Xavier Worthy to go along with the other young kid they got on the outside. Okay, looks like they're getting to take shots now downfield. Looks like the defenses are starting to back up a little bit. If they could get Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt and they get that running game going, they're going to be a problem. And right now, they're a problem. They're at 2-2. They're waking up. Chargers and Broncos. Looks like the Broncos are probably going to take their second loss. This is an opportunity for Kansas City. Chargers might take their second loss this weekend. This is an opportunity for Kansas City to reclaim that spot. And I think they will. I think they travel to Jacksonville and they pull this win. They're the favorites, by the way. Okay, I'm going to moneyline the Chiefs. I don't think it's going to be over 45.5. I'm looking at 23-20 maybe, because Jacksonville has a solid defense. They're pretty good on the defensive side. They could make plays. offensively is what I worry about Jacksonville. Inconsistency at the quarterback play of Dexter Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence just didn't understand that slide to try to run out the clock at the end of the game against the 49ers. Nearly blew that game. After you guys were dominating and you don't know how to slide to keep the clock running, that's where I have a problem. Kind of reminds me of the Packers with Jordan Love. All that time you have on the clock, and you mismanaged it in overtime. And then it was just, you had 2 shots in the end zone and ended up getting 1 shot and ended up tying the game in which you should have won from the get-go. So Jordan Love and Trevor Lawrence are 2 quarterbacks that in the last couple of seasons that I've watched closely that remind me of guys that with all the talent that they have, they still haven't put it together. They still haven't given me what I look for to be the complete quarterbacks that they need to be to carry the team. Trevor Lawrence, for all the talent in the world that he is, and he does have weapons, Parker Washington, Brian Thomas, now he's got Travis Hunter, and I don't know what Jacksonville's doing with Travis Hunter. Do you want him to play receiver full time, or do you want him to come in and play DB? I would suggest that Jacksonville keeps him at wide receiver. That's where he's dangerous. I think your defense is good enough to keep Travis Hunter on the offensive side of it. But I just think the play, and they do have Travis Etienne, who's playing outstanding this year. They also have Bashir Tootin, another good running back. This is a talented Jacksonville squad, but it's the play of their quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, that's going to keep them from taking that next step. It is Liam Cohen's rookie season as a head coach, and he's doing very well. But I think he's going to get overcoached. I think the Chiefs coaching staff is an edge here in this game. We're going to moneyline the Chiefs. We're going to take that -3, and we're going to under 45.5. And that's the way we're going to end the weekend. So there you go, folks. Is it a tough bet? I'm going to asterisk tough bet. But I'm not sure if I could do that. I just think the Chiefs are just overwhelmingly the better team. All right? And the Chiefs, I believe this weekend, by the end of the weekend, will be 3-2. I think they'll be in first place again in that AFC West. I just think going into this game, I think Jacksonville's excited. They're on prime time. We're for real. We're 3-1. All right. Calm down. Calm down, Haas. Okay? I just think the Chiefs are going to walk into Jacksonville and beat them solidly. But I'm going to asterisk the game because I know a lot of guys going to jump on Jacksonville. So this is the way it's going to look to end the weekend. All right, guys. You can pause the video if you like. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button for me. And now we're going to do the touchdown parlays. And we're just going to pick guys that we think for each game is going to get in the end zone, okay? So you can mix and match, right? You can mix your picks for the games with the touchdown players and make your parlay, build it any way you want. You could do player props, but I'm noticing that my app, I don't know what apps you guys use, but some of the player props, when you put a parlay builder up for in-game performances, they just don't pay well. And then if you go with like touchdown makers, who's going to score, and then maybe add a game or two that you think is going to win, they pay outstanding, right? For minimum bet, you could win $5,000 to $10,000 on just picking 8 players and which team's going to win. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to build out our parlays right now. I'm going to show you who I think is going to score this weekend. And just, again, I'm giving you this edge for free. So hit that like and subscribe button. Okay, so I'm giving you this edge for free. You don't have to pay me anything. So I'm giving you a list of players that I think are going to help you make some money against the sports books and sports apps, right? We're trying to beat those guys. We're trying to beat Vegas at their own game. So it's been a crazy season when it comes to special teams and field goals and stuff like that. So far, that's been a storyline after 4 weeks. And it might continue. It might continue all the way into the playoffs and into the Super Bowl. Maybe that's what they're trying to present us, right? Like the storyline for this season is going to come down to a last-second field goal, a block punt, block, whatever, field goal block, punt return, kill, something with the special teams might happen in this year's Super Bowl. It's the storyline, right? Before, I remember people had that conspiracy with the colors of the Super Bowl, right? Oh, it's purple and red. It's going to be the Chiefs, or purple and green. It's going to be the Chiefs and the Eagles. So maybe the conspiracy this year is with special teams. Who knows? But you heard it first from Casino Pete, right? So let's do the touchdown builder, and let me pause this while I put some names down. Well, guys, there you have it. That's pretty much my touchdown parlay builder. And so if you guys want to mix and match along with some of your money line games, you could build a pretty good parlay. Kind of got funny with the Titans and the Bengals, right? Like, just somebody please score, because last week I had a touchdown parlay that I built, and could have won a $500,000 if one guy from the Texans had scored, or someone from the Titans, and not one guy scored from the Titans, and the guys that I was expecting to score for the Texans never came through. Some names that I didn't even see on my parlay builder. But anyway, those were some of the players that I feel will get in the end zone this weekend, and that's for my little buddy over here. We're getting close to the Halloween season. I believe this weekend, starting on Thursday, is the beginning of October, right? So he's going to be our new guest throughout the October season until Halloween is over with, little Mikey, right? Is this Mike Myers? Yep, little Mikey. But anyway, guys, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button for me, please. Much appreciated. And I'll see you guys next weekend. Hopefully you guys will do very well this weekend. I give you this edge for free. That's what Casino Pete does. He does all the homework for you guys on his laptop. And he has a lot of multi-view screens to see what's going on throughout the day, any updates, whatnot. And if you have any commentary, leave it in there. But guys, I need viewers. I need lots of viewers, because you guys are missing out on what I'm putting out there. You're missing out on a lot of money by betting small and winning big. I'm doing okay, but I want you guys to do okay as well, okay? So, guys, it's going to get tricky soon. But I'm giving you this treat for free, okay? So watch for this guy throughout October because things are going to get crazy in the NFL. But I'm giving you an edge for free. So tune in every week, all right? Every weekend, I'm here in front of your face, getting close and personal, giving you this edge for free. So please do yourself a favor. Again, can't state it enough. Hit that like and subscribe button, or I'm going to get my little buddy after you. Where's this little thing? Yeah, you better hit that like and subscribe button. Get that little buddy after you. Come on, guys. Let's get going. Let's make that money. Let's beat those sports books and those sports apps. See you next weekend, and good luck.